Hey guys, this is Al again. Bought another car. I keep swearing to myself that I need to stop buying cars and sell cars instead. But then these deals show up and I just feel compelled to buy them. So this is just one of those deals. It's a 2000 BMW M5. Really not much to say about this car except, you know, I just recently bought it, so I don't know too much about it. It belonged to a guy that I knew. I actually bought another car off him. I bought an 88 M5 from him about I don't know, 3 years ago. He wanted to sell his 88 M5 so that he can actually buy this car, and I ended up basically doing a deal with him. And he called me recently and he said that, you know, circumstances for him changed and he wanted to basically sell the car, but he told me that there was issues with the brakes. He wasn't sure what was wrong with it. He bled the master cylinder out. He replaced the master cylinder, he bled the brakes, but then it had zero pressure. A couple of other issues that he had with it was the hood wouldn't latch properly, or wouldn't unlatch rather. That's why the kidneys are out of the car. You know, that's really the only two problems that he mentioned. And he'd done some work to the car, or you know, maybe the previous owner prior to him. But a couple of things that are noticeable. I know he put lug nuts, so he did a conversion kit so that he can use lug nuts instead of lug bolts, which I guess is pretty convenient. Works pretty well. I don't have a problem with that. It's been lowered, and I think it's got coilover suspension, which, you know, is, for me, you know, I'm kind of an originality kind of guy, so I don't really like lowered vehicles. They usually just give you more grief than benefit, you know. So I may change that. I don't know what it's going to take to change it, but I may change it. You know, overall, you know, but it's a nice car. I mean, it's pretty straight. You know, the paintwork's, you know, pretty decent. Originally I thought it was like a very, you know, deep solid black, but I think it's got some metallic flakes. I washed it. It was really dirty when I got it. I washed it, and you can see it. I didn't do a great job of washing it because there's still some dust marks all over it. But I did better than it was before. It was really dirty. You know, overall, not a bad looking car. Unfortunately, you can see where the wheel arch liner is all out of the car, and the bumper is a little bit messed up. Unfortunately, when I loaded it on this trailer, because it was lowered, it had some clearance problems. So I think most of the damage is on the liners itself rather than the actual bumper, which I really hope. But if that's the you know, that's the case, I can probably get that fixed pretty cheaply. If not, then I'm going to have to find a new bumper, which is, you know, always fun. It's got a couple of things that need to be addressed, you know, minor cosmetics. This rubber strip is you know, coming to bits. So I know that you can buy those as replacement bits. But mechanically, it sounds like it's not a bad little car. Give me a quick second. Let me go and get the key, because I know I locked the door and I'm pretty sure I don't have the keys on me. And then I'll come back and we can pop the hood. Okay, so back with the keys. So the inside of the car, it's in pretty good shape, you know. It's you know, the leather interior is in pretty nice shape. Not really any kind of major problems. There was a black wrap that was put in some of the wood, and I started peeling it off. So you can see here, it's all coming off. And the wood actually behind it is in actually pretty good shape, which is good fortune. Let me see if I can crank the motor. You guys can hear it running. So foot down on the clutch. kind of neat. So I guess to protect the engine, they BMW redlines this engine at 4,500 RPM until it's warmed up, and then it'll go up to like 7,000 RPM. There's a service engine soon light, but I suspect that I know what the problem is there. AC works, but I can't seem to get the radio. Oh, did I get the radio going? I'm gonna open the hood and show you underneath the engine. Okay, so excuse the noise in the background. Got some yard work to be done. So here's the engine. It's very smooth, no problems. The cabin filter on this side is off the car because I'm going to throw it on the lift, try to figure out if I can bleed the brakes again one more time. But aside from that, I mean, it runs okay. It doesn't run too badly. So, more to be said. Like I said, the latch wasn't working. It wasn't unlatching. What it ended up being was, the way that the hood latch works is that it connects to a bracket right here, and then there's a cable that goes to another bracket on this side, and both of them, when you pull the cord, both of those guys get pulled. This one the cable was disconnected on this end for that bracket, and as a result, it wasn't latching. So, this thing drives amazing. Like, I own a lot of cars, and AMG, Mercedes, Porsche, but I still love the way BMWs drive. I think BMWs just have such an engaging driver's experience. They figured that out. So the previous owner was saying that the brakes were hitting the floor, but I think what was going on is that the ABS pump needed bleeding, and after a period of time that air just got out of the ABS pump, because it's a little bit squidgy, but it's not bad. And I have an Autel scanner, so I went into the ABS system and I ran the purge and the purge function. So if there was any air in the system, I should have gotten it out. Mosquitoes, crazy amount of mosquitoes here. So I mean, it breaks. It's not legal right now. The tag's expired in 03 of 2018 in March. So I don't really want to drive it too much, but I'll take it for a quick spin. There's a guy who doesn't know how to drive a stick. Shame on you, Al. I do know how to drive a stick. So steering has a little bit of shake in it. I'm not sure if that's just flat spots in the tires from it sitting. Obviously, I think it was sitting for about 6 or 7 months. Yeah, there's definitely something going on with the steering. even like there's a transmission mount or an engine mount or there's something, but it's really horrible right here. I feel if you can look at the steering wheel, I'm not sure whether you can see it, but it's going to go up on the lift in a second anyway, so I'll be able to see what's going on. But these things pull like trains. So I really like this guy who sold me this car. You know, I've known him a few years. And you could tell that he took care of it while he had it. Even though it's got, you know, a couple of niggling issues. It's got 177,000 miles on the clock. And for a car that's done 177,000 miles, it's in great shape. So pretty pleased with it. Let me see if I can get it. The shop is so crammed, full of crap. I've got to be super careful because this thing's got an itty bitty spoiler that sits real low, and it's M5 specific, the front bumper kind of deal is. So I really need to make sure that I don't do anything stupid and hurt this car. So I don't know why I bought this car. You know, I mean it's fast, but it's not fast like my S55, which is what I daily drive nowadays. You know, that thing's just obnoxious. But it's fast and it's definitely more engaging to drive. You know, it kind of feels like you're driving a touring car, which I do love. So guys, this is why I don't like lowered cars. So I'm up here on my lift trying to get the M5 raised, and the lift won't go under the car. So what I'm having to do is I get my trolley jack and raise the car with the trolley jack so I can get the lift arm underneath it. Once it's under there, and then I should be able to lower the jack. And maybe, obviously not. Now I can't get the lift arm on, which sucks. I gotta elaborate here. So give me a second. What I'll do is I'll get some 2x4s, put it underneath the second the arm over there, and then that way when I lower it, there's going to be enough space on this side to clear it. Okay. All right, guys. So I've got the power bleeder set up. It's basically your motive pressure bleeder. I'm sure you guys know it. If you don't have one of these, you need to get one of these because they're great. This one came with a bunch of accessories, but the one to have is the European car accessory, which basically screws on top of the brake fluid reservoir on just about every European car. So what you do is just basically pressurize it. Oops. Oh, that sucks. Alright guys, so the car's up on the lift right now. I was able to block it and raise the car a little bit with the jack. Work slowed down a little bit. I have my motif pressure bleeder. I put this on. These are great bleeders, by the way, but the problem is that the brake fluid just tears these hoses up. So I put it on. I hadn't used it in a while, and I went to put it on, and as soon as I pressurized it, it just started leaking. So went to the hardware store and got myself a piece of plastic tubing from the plumbing supply area, and just replaced the plastic tubing. So guys, if you're gonna run into this if you buy a motive, but it's still a great product. Just expect that to happen. So brake fluid that I'm using is the ATE.4 brake fluid, which is pretty much my go-to brake fluid for every German car that I own. I used to use the blue stuff and cycle between the blue and the yellow, but they stopped selling the blue stuff, which sucks. So anyway, I'm going to try pressurizing it again and see if I can get it up to like 5 psi. Hopefully it wouldn't spring a leak. Okay, so reservoir seems to be holding. Got pressure in the brake fluid. There's a fairly decent amount of brake fluid in there. Certainly should be enough to help bleed the system. So now I'm just going to lower the hood a little bit because I don't really have that high a ceiling. So I need to lower the hood to make sure nothing happens to it, and put this car up in the air. Usually I just give it just a shake just to see if everything's stable and balanced. Sure enough it is. Hey guys, so my camera battery died, so I'm using my cell phone for this last bit. But you know, the car, I bled 3 corners of the car. So the passenger side front, unfortunately, the brake bleeder was pretty badly stripped, and I just made it worse, but I couldn't get it off. So I'm going to need to order a new brake bleeder. I'll probably bleed the system again afterwards. But I did bleed it. I bled the 2 back wheels and the driver's side front. The brake fluid that came out was pretty dark, and you know, that may be because you know, I use my scanner to push the ABS pump, and it just basically pumps out the fluid. But it looks pretty dark. So I'm not sure exactly what the deal is there, because I know that the previous owner said that he'd bled the brakes, and I believe him. So but that was, you know, some time ago. Clutch down. Engine started. Brake pedal. Still feels kind of spongy, you know. Yeah, it still feels kind of spongy. So I'm not sure what to do about that. It doesn't feel, I mean, it's not going all the way to the ground or anything else like that, although I can practically push it all the way there. So it still feels kind of spongy. I'm not sure exactly what to do about that. You know, I'm going to put my oil towel on it and see what happens. See if I can get it to throw any codes or do any kind of diagnostics on the ABS. Alright, so that's it for now, and then I'll get back to you next week. I've got so many irons in the fire. I'm trying to work on the Bentley, I'm trying to work on the Rolls-Royce Corniche, doing this as well, and the 6.3. Alright guys, this is Al again. So I ran into a couple of problems when I was trying to bleed this brake system. I haven't uploaded the video, so you'll probably see it all in one go, but you know, I was gone for a couple of weeks, I had to travel. So here's what happened. A couple of things happened. First of all, this power bleeder ended up basically rupturing. You know, the hoses end up rupturing. So I had to replace the hoses on this thing. It was sitting right here where it was, and then it shot water right across onto my CL65, which is dusty, but is actually a very nice car with only, you know, 34,000 miles on the clock. So yeah, I had to take care of that. So these are all brand new hoses that I bought from a hardware store, and they should do the job. What else happened? So I bled the system. I ran into an issue with one of the bleeder nipples on the passenger side front. It wouldn't open up with the wrench that I had. So I took the wheel off and put a socket on it, and I was able to crack it open, which is good. But the biggest problem is that the brakes actually felt worse after I bled the system. So what I'm going to do right now is, you know, I've got my my hotel scanner on the system. I was doing some research, and it appears that you may have to run the ABS pump while you're bleeding the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do that right now and see if that causes any kind of difference. So I'm going to turn the camera off because I've got to use both my hands, but I'll try to take a quick video of the ABS pump running if I get the opportunity. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this with just by myself, but let me turn it off and then start bleeding the system again and then see how that works out. Okay, so I'm bleeding the back rear brakes. You can see that I've got a little hose that's attached to the bleed screw. It uses a number 9mm wrench, and it's slowly bleeding. Kind of nasty brake fluid, but there you go. So, as I understand, the bleed procedure is to activate the ABS pump. So I have the ABS pump right here, and you've got the options of pre-charging a return pump. As I understand it from doing some research, is that for the back brakes I only need to run the return pump. For the front brakes I need to run both. So what I understand and the way it's supposed to work is that you activate the pump, it starts bleeding the system. Once it's done, you depress the pedal 5 times, and then close the system off, and it should be fine. I've already ran piles and piles of fluid into the system, so I am hoping that should do it. So hit activate. And it's done. Okay, so now this is kind of the tricky part because the car's on the lift and obviously you can't open the door too much. So I've got this, and I really hate doing this, but it is what it is. I've got this big steel beam right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the door, and I'm going to need both my hands, so I'm going to turn the camera off, but I'm going to use this beam over here, this piece of square tubing, to press the brake pedal. So right now we'll just pause the camera while I get this thing done. Thank you. Alright, so I'm now at the right front caliper, and as you can see here, you can see it's bleeding very slightly. I'm going to activate the pre-charge pump this time, and what you'll see is I activate the pre-charge pump as it pumps quite a bit of fluid in one go. So now hit escape, activate the ABS pump. So and again, okay, so then I'm going to go around and you can see my jerry-rigged deal here. So you can see I've got my brake pedal, the square tubing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is getting progressively harder. 4. 5. Okay. And so now I'm just going to tighten up the bolt, and I can tell that I lost my bottle somewhere, or at least the hose disconnected from the bottle, which kind of sucks. But anyway, we tighten that up, move on to the next one. So hopefully this is what needs to happen. So we'll see. Alright guys, we'll get to the next one, and then hopefully it should be done and I should be able to test it.